My fellow Americans, today you may be waiting for the highly anticipated Epstein client list to be released. So while I know you may see what appears to be my name on the list, I'd like to argue that I did not have sexual relations with those children on that island. Would it even count, though? It wasn't in the United States. Also, if you add up their ages, I'm sure it was above 18.
Yes.
Jeff told me since it was outside of the
Bill,
jurisdiction.
what the hell are you doing?
No, Hillary, I'm not confessing.
You idiot. Do I always have to clean up your mess?
What are you doing? What? No, wait. Please don't hurt the cameraman. He had nothing to do with this. No, Hillary, that was my friend. He wasn't a witness. My fellow Americans, today you may be...
Today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the day the list comes out. I downplayed it. I said, oh, maybe it's a lot of hype because I saw some other people with analysis downplaying it. But it is coming out today. It might come out during the stream, to be honest. It's already 5 p.m. Eastern time. Markets have closed for the day. There can't be any major reactions to it. So maybe it'll come out during the show. If it does, let me know. I'll take a look at it. Yeah, there was some confusion about whether the list was going to drop or not because one person, number 107, Jane Doe, number 107, doesn't want their name published. So that got pushed back like 3 weeks or 30 days. So there's just, but some people, there was some confusion this morning over whether it was actually going to be released today. Apparently that confusion has been cleared up. And now it is confirmed as per my title that the Epstein client list, no, this isn't the Epstein client list specifically. This is the list that came from Virginia Giuffre's lawsuits where a number of people were named. So we'll see. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It was just raining outside. Now the sun's out again. We've had a lot of rain here in California. You know, all that climate change. I remember they told us, I've lived in California for 23 years. And they told us back in the day that we would just have persistent droughts forever. And based on this winter, that's totally not true. We've had some rain, various winters, and flooding and all these other things as a result of climate change. So what's up, Street Ghost, who says Happy New Year in Spanish. Feliz Ano Novo. Yes, Happy New Year. We can still say that for today's the 3rd. It's Wednesday, January 3rd in the United States, at least. It's actually a brand new day. It's already the 4th overseas in Australia, where we have some listeners. Sorry, that was Portuguese, Street Ghost. What are you, Brazilian or something? Are you? Good to see familiar people. Thanks for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys so much. It's good for me to be able to come here and give you the news. So I have, well, Bitcoin was down today, big time. So, and now it's coming back. So I have some news about Bitcoin and why it tanked today. It tanked like 9% in an hour or something before coming back. So I'll tell you why that is. There's some baloney report that came out that said that the ETF is not going to be approved. So I'll show you the latest news on Bitcoin on the show. I was going to lead in my headline with the prostitution ring that got busted. You guys remember the high-end prostitution ring that serviced a lot of government agents? Well, they're saying that was a honeypot, not surprisingly, I guess. So I'll read to you from that article from the Daily Mail. They say they have an exclusive that the prostitution ring that brought in high-end government, military contractors and stuff was a honeypot run by foreigners. So, and today, by the way, today is the 15th anniversary of Bitcoin. So, and it's down, and like I said, it's down today, but today's the 15th anniversary of Bitcoin. Apparently it's like the 30th anniversary of the first successful web browser, Mosaic. How long have you guys been around? I'm 45. So I grew up, I had the Atari 2600. Before the Atari 2600, I think I had the Commodore 64 and 128. I don't know if that was before or after. Are you guys old enough to remember that? Do you remember rotary phones and stuff? Kids are screwed right now. Apparently they can't read. They can't focus on anything. I really do blame TikTok for I think. And then if you go back in time, the iPhone, you remember the iPhone coming out? You can remember it. We can still remember it. It happened in my adult life. I remember, God, I'm so dumb sometimes. I remember thinking it was going to be a failure because other touchscreen phones had been a failure in the past. So Bake for Life remembers ColecoVision. Yeah, I think I might have had one of those too. I had one system for a long time. I would get at least one of them. I don't know if I got the Sega Genesis when Super Nintendo. I think I got the Sega Genesis when Super Nintendo was the thing to have. And then I had the Sony PlayStation 1, 2. Can't remember if I had 3. Eventually I stopped playing video games though. But yeah, we can remember things like corded phones and then like, what do they call them? 900 gigahertz phones, which made it so you could talk further away and stuff. We remember having a home phone before nobody has home phones. So Parody Bear, you had Sega too? Yeah, Sega Genesis. I remember being jealous. My neighbor across the street got that Sega Genesis. So yeah, video games. I grew up playing video games for sure. I remember Galaga and Super Miss Pac-Man. Those were the huge arcade games. And Mortal Kombat, playing that at Fuddruckers. Big for Life, you're 48. Yeah. James Turek Art said you had a pager. I had a pager too in high school. When they said only drug dealers had pagers, I had a pager. But we were actually trying to deal drugs, believe it or not. I've been very fortunate in my life not to get involved with the law more than I have, even though over the summer I was involved a little bit and I'm still paying for that. But I was fortunate. Yeah, we were trying to deal drugs in high school and stuff. I think I can admit to that because it was marijuana. So we got a brick, but I wasn't any good at it. I didn't have the right connections and stuff. But yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Marijuana, which is looking to be rescheduled apparently soon. So, all right. So you guys like the personal anecdotes? You can say yes, you want more personal anecdotes. Edgar, you had a Motorola? Yeah, I had a Nokia in college. That's the first cell phone I remember in the year 2000 was my Nokia. I wonder which phone that one was for. There are sounds that stick in our minds that mean something. All right, I'll play the intro and then we'll get to the news. More news. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, the real news and news about the past. Yeah, we could just kick it and talk about the things we remember. This is the youngest person who's identified themselves in the chat. Meteor Dreams had a Moto Razr in 2006. I was a freshman in high school. I remember when I got the Razr that it was cool. I remember in LA, everybody had it already, basically, or it wasn't that big of a deal. But I had that Razr. That was a cool phone. Right before the introduction of the iPhone, right? The iPhone came out in 2007. You were a freshman in high school. You believe it or not, okay. You guys have your phones in high school. We if you couldn't have communication devices with you in high school because they assumed you were dealing drugs. And you can guess when I graduated high school. That's okay. Yeah, but actually communication devices, pagers, if you were found with a pager, you might get suspended or something. So, and I risked it and carried one. We had the TI-81 calculator, if you're old enough to remember that. The TI-81, and then the TI-82 came out. The TI-82 was fire. We had people in my high school programming games onto the calculators. So that's before phones. Those were our computers back in the day. I remember kids, there was a program for something called Mafia Wars, which ran on the phone, I believe, where you could buy and sell drugs pretty much. And the prices were always fluctuating. No, that wasn't Mafia Wars. That was called something, Mafia something. Mafia Wars was actually a game on Facebook. Remember when games on remember Farmville? Did you get addicted to Farmville? I didn't so much, but maybe I did a little bit. I was playing Farmville, and then I was playing something called Mafia Wars. Meteor Dreams, you had a sidekick. Black people all had sidekicks. I feel like black people invented text messaging. I feel like maybe black people are responsible for certain technological advancements. Like they were doing text messaging, like you said, maybe in 2007, when you had a sidekick. It seemed like they all had sidekicks when I would see them. And we're doing two-way paging. There was two-way paging, which I didn't do. You would get a number and call them back, and the code would be like 69 or 911 or 411. Yeah, that's the memory. Yeah, Sky Pager. Do you know the importance of a Sky Pager? You know that song by Tribe Called Quest, yeah, which came out in the 90s. So anyway, 808, I don't know it. 420 might have been a code back then. I'm not sure. So look at that. All these people are here because the Epstein client list, and I don't have the Epstein client list. I do have a story about a high-end brothel. I'll go to that story first. If you page for 69, it means you want some. A number of importance, I just put it on lock. That's from Tribe Called Quest. Number of importance, I just put it on lock. When you page for 69, it means you want some blank. All right. Oh, and only doctors had pagers, and etc. And rich people had mobile phones in their car phones. I wonder if those operated off the car antenna. I'm not sure. All right, let me share this. Here is the brothel news. High-end sex ring in Boston and DC areas was a honeypot scheme by Russia, China, South Korea, or even Israel. South Korea, interesting. Even Israel to ensnare U.S. officials, intelligence experts believe. Investigators believe a network of high-end brothels operating in the Boston and DC areas was a honey trap to ensnare politicians and government officials. But whether the plot was intended to aid Russia, China, South Korea, or even Israel remains to be determined. Clients believed to include members of Congress, military officers, and national security contractors have not yet been unmasked and charged. It says intelligence experts are becoming increasingly convinced that 6 high-end brothels in the suburbs of Boston and Washington, D.C. were set up by a foreign nation as an espionage honey trap. They believe the brothels, allegedly masterminded by a 41-year-old South Korean woman, targeted politicians, high-ranking government officials, and defense contractors. But the mystery is which country was behind the scheme. Russia, China, Korea itself, or even Israel are all seen as possibly being behind the scheme. Quote, having the Koreans out front could have been a false flag to give China or another country plausible deniability if the plot unraveled, unquote. A one-time CIA senior operations officer told Daily Mail in an exclusive interview. And it says they were looking to charge 28 people in Massachusetts alone. And there's a picture from it. They look Asian to me. Yoko and Tiffany were offered as a duo for photographers looking for a modeling twosome. Interesting. And so that's where they were set up, around Boston in high-end apartment complexes. So yeah, to me, it's an argument for why prostitution should be legal. And then you don't have to worry about then people could still get in trouble. You know, it still might be frowned upon and they could use it as leverage. But if it was legal, then it would be less likely that it could be used as leverage against someone. And it's also less likely that there will be any underage people involved. It's less likely there will be any sex trafficking involved, even though it is kind of still sex trafficking, but it wouldn't be, I don't know. It's just something. Other places, you know, it's not illegal. And in Japan, women don't think it's a big deal. I saw the interviews on that. So anyway, here are the locations. This is the article about it. They had a place in Tysons, Virginia. Yeah, I'm from Virginia, Fairfax County, actually. So I live right around here, Alexandria, somewhere in here. That's where I was born, Alexandria. I lived there for my whole life up until college. That's where I'm from, Washington, D.C. area. So anyway, D.C. area brothel locations, so they have them. So that's news. All right. So that's a honeypot scheme, apparently. All right. But, and that's in addition to the Epstein stuff. The Epstein stuff, just to recap, has not been released yet, as far as I'm aware. Okay. Let me go back to the news on Claudine Gay, who got removed because of plagiarism. They're blaming conservatives, and also they say something totally ridiculous. Here's what it says. Here's what their tweet said today, sharing this article. Harvard president's resignation highlights new conservative weapon against colleges, plagiarism. So they say it's a conservative weapon against colleges, rather than something that is a big deal if you commit plagiarism and you're an academic. Rather than saying, oh, well, she committed plagiarism, they say, oh, this was a right-wing attack. And it's meant to restructure our institutions or something. Also, in the article, the thing they said was insane, was that Christopher Rufo, who was behind the campaign, said that he wrote scalped. And they wrote on X, formerly Twitter, he wrote scalped as if gay was a trophy of violence, invoking a gruesome practice taken up by white colonists who sought to eradicate Native Americans. Can you believe that? I did not know that white people were the ones who did the scalping. I thought it was, they actually had to edit this after much ridicule. They had to edit it. They did a stealth edit and said, oh, also, where is that one? Here. I'll share this tab. And also, they added this, and also used by some tribes against their enemies. They scalped them. I had no idea white people did it. They want to make it like this was totally racist, which it did have to do with race, and it was an attack on her mostly for the Israel issue, but also because people are upset that they saw her as a racist hire, even though she was the first black president. She's the shortest lived president in Harvard history, only 6 months. So the Babylon Bee, they basically say it's like they forced her to be a plagiarist, right? So the Babylon Bee shared this headline: Claudine Gay claims white supremacists went back in time and forced her to plagiarize at gunpoint. All right. So she is still going to be paid, apparently. She still stays on at Harvard. She's still going to be a teacher at Harvard. And she is still set to earn almost $900,000 a year by being a professor at Harvard, believe it or not. So I can't imagine. What's the cost of failure? There is none. If you're from the right marginalized group, I guess. So yeah, if that, and then you have to ask, like, does that have to do with DEI? Is that racist that she's being paid so much? But she is going to it says here, she will remain a member of the university staff and return to a teaching role in the Department of Political Science and keep a similar salary. So there you go. All right. DEI. John Lennon's son, is actually kind of interesting. He's coming out as being more I don't want to say right wing, but he's left. So here, I'm trying to share this tab and it's not coming up. So let me wait for my computer to catch up. It's doing something funny. Come on, switch to the right tab. There we go. Sean Ono Lennon says, have you guys heard of DEI? Stands for dumb, evil idiots. All right, I have some clips of Vivek. Okay, so I've gone over a few things. Going to talk about Bitcoin. If you want to support the show, buy a t-shirt. Go to truthclothing.io, and while the sale is still active, use code MARY25 while the sale is still active, which it could end any day now. So Mary25 will get you 25% off almost everything on our website. Go to truthclothing.io. I might do a longer ad for it. We have some great shirts, including Nassim, Propaganda, Truth Matters. We have some really great shirts. So go ahead and put in your orders today. Or you can also support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. And actually, if you want to become a member there, that's really cool. Memberships are really cool. And they don't ban me like PayPal did. So, all right, let's give a few clips of Vivek, who the presidential primaries are coming up January 15th, or at least the Iowa caucuses. And Vivek is claiming he's going to have a big win. So anyway, here's some of the things he's saying. This is him talking to the mainstream media. And then I'll show you the latest clip. This is him talking to the mainstream.
Deliver a major surprise, right? Because many of our supporters are first-time supporters, and I think we're going to, frankly, make a lot of the media's. All I'm saying, one more thing I would say I'm looking forward to is I want to have a conversation, because the historical pattern with the media is lie again. When proven to have lied, hide from accountability. From the Hunter Biden laptop story to the origin of COVID to.
Come on.
The Trump-Russia collusion hoax that never was. I'm still waiting for one honest anchor in the mainstream media to just look their own audience in the eye and say, hey, I apologize. We lied to you. We got it wrong, and we'll never have this happen again. I challenge your guy, Alex, who likes to write, I would say clickbaity headlines to say at least you're from a new generation of leadership. Go ahead and step up, and maybe you can do it. Or maybe, Catherine, I bet on you sooner to do it. But somebody needs to actually, from the next generation, heal that divide of trust between the media and the people I'll look forward to having that conversation with the media with what happens on January 15th. It'll be a surprise. They'll try to sweep it under the rug, try to minimize the importance of Iowa, and try to set the same narrative they have been. And I think that we need to use every occasion we have to at least rebuild trust with the American public to say, here's the narrative we've set. Here's where we were proven wrong. And here's where we own accountability. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Consider it.
So that's where he says, I wonder if they could rebuild trust genuinely. And I meant to pin this tweet. Let me see. Who says, become a member of buymeacoffee.com. Okay, let's pin that. Thanks for that, Street Ghost. Appreciate it. Someone says Vivek is lying, is a lying fake. Samantha Womack says Vivek is a lying fake. I wonder why. Well, that's what mainstream media pushed all these things onto us, and they never apologize. And I feel like apologies could go a long way if they said, oh yeah, we got Russiagate wrong, for example. So I think that could go a long way with people, but we'll see. They are becoming more, I don't know. I don't know if the media is changing at all, but all right. So here's another clip where Vivek is asked to condemn white supremacy. All right. And he's in front of his truth sign. I'm curious. You can wager on Vivek. He's way down in the odds. I think it's like 5 cents to win $1 if he became president. I don't know if he has a chance to become president, but the odds could get better depending on the results in Iowa. It's an interesting bet.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
What do you expect from?
There you go. I have video of him playing piano too, if you guys really want to see him show off. These high IQ types can often have many skills. He also knows how to play piano a little bit, at least. Yeah, somebody's Bake for Life says he has signs all over New Hampshire. He is trying very hard. I mean, I got to give it to him. He's got good energy. He's been all over Iowa, and he's probably in New Hampshire too. New Hampshire, where the first primary is. P. Bog says, nice jacket. I agree. It's actually a cool jacket. Yeah, I like him more and more, especially compared to the competition. But I know, but Trump is dominating. I'll show the website somebody asked is Predict It, Katie. That's what it's called, Predict It. So if you want to look at the odds there, Donald Trump is the favorite. I'm sure it's share that tab. Donald Trump is currently the favorite by 2 cents over Joe Biden. And then Nikki Haley at a distant third place, Gavin Newsom fourth, RFK Jr. fifth, and Vivek is sixth. But it's only, yeah, if you wanted to buy, yes, it's 5 cents. He's at 4 cents, but you'd have to pay 5 cents. So I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad bet. Someone in the chat says that gambling is a sin. Is it for sure? All kinds of gambling. What about playing the lottery? See, the states make a lot of money. Countries make a lot of money through the lottery scam. But that's interesting you say that. I'm not sure I agree that it's necessarily a sin, especially playing poker or something, which is a game of skill. And, wagering on it is, so I might disagree with you that it's a sin, especially when it comes to poker. I don't know, blackjack and other stuff. I don't know. That takes a little skill too. All right. So that was Vivek clips for today. The new director, the person who has been chosen to be the director of the Star Wars series of movies, says she likes making men uncomfortable. That's like her favorite thing to do. So let me play that clip. This is her being interviewed this is something called Women in the World, and Jon Stewart got to ask the questions and be emasculated. Here it is.
What is the balance of activating a force for change, but also trying to permeate that patriarchy, that power structure? And is that a part of the calculation of your art as well? And what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. Not you, just not you. Not you.
Point taken, point taken.
But, it is important to be able to look into the eyes of a man and say, I am here, and recognize that. And recognize that I am working to bring something that makes you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable because you need to change your attitude. And it's only when you're uncomfortable, when you're shifty, when you have to have difficult conversations, that you will perhaps look at yourself in the mirror and not like the reflection, and then say, maybe there is something wrong with the way I think, or maybe there is something wrong with the way I am addressing this issue.
There you go. So that is her. What's her name? I'll try to tell you. It just says new Star Wars director. So that's the new director of the Star Wars franchise, who says that she enjoys making men uncomfortable because women exist. God damn it. We got to recognize them. Well, I think it's something about when people get more rights and things get more equal, all of a sudden they say everything's less equal. So here is a clip from American Fiction, which has won all kinds of awards. And I don't know if it must be out now, maybe on Netflix or something. But this is a scene where Libs of TikTok says anti-white racism is the only kind of discrimination that's allowed and celebrated. I'm not sure if it's being celebrated by this clip or just being pointed out. I'll let you be the judge. This is a clip from that movie, which explores how white people and black people, like what people expect from black art or black novels versus what some black people are actually like. But this is the scene. You decide whether it's racist.
Oh, the perfect timing. This is Coraline.
Hello, dear. I'm Agnes.
Okay.
I'm happy you're not white. Me too.
There you go.
Oh,
That's
the
the scene.
perfect timing.
I'm happy you're not white. Me too. I don't know if that's just exploring what black people are really like, some of them, or not. I know some black families do not want white people to join the family, but however, I also know some white families that don't want the race mixing going on. So it's possible on both ends, but yeah, it's a little cringe. All right. Jimmy Kimmel, I played a clip for you guys yesterday, where Aaron Rodgers said that Jimmy Kimmel is going to be on the list. He has struck back and says, "Dear asshole," with 2 A's, like Aaron Rodgers. I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up and we will debate the facts further in court. So you actually threatened him with a lawsuit. You want to know what? I'll play what he said on an ESPN show.
Bring it up, Foxy or somebody back
Seats
there.
on it.
Bring up Super Bowl 58.
You'll see it.
The emblem, put on the screen. And then bring up 57 and 56.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
Feels
like
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been
There's
waiting
a
in
lot
his
of
wine
people-
cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this thing.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right. Obviously, a clip from this.
He must have some beef with Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know what it is. He must have beef with him. So Jimmy Kimmel came out and said he's not on the list. We're waiting on the list. It might happen during this show. Stay tuned to find out. So I think I'll get updated if it comes out. Let me see. Yeah, some people are already making memes about it. Dildo 107. People are saying that he's actually number 107 who does want his name to come out. Yeah. But we're going to find out. I'm looking at my Discord where I'm getting notifications about the list. So I'll let you guys know if the list does drop, and then we can go through it live in real time. Okay, I told you Bitcoin news. Told you Bitcoin dropped massively this evening. So there it was. That's the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin fell. It was over 45,000 and dropped down to about 40,000 before coming back. Now it's at 42.7. So no big deal, really. It's just back down to levels that it's been at for a long time. But yeah, a bunch of other cryptocurrencies dropped today. They say it's because of a report, just a random blog post, pretty much, that from something called Matrixport, where one person says that it's going to be the ETF is going to be rejected. So that's the live chart. So 42.7 right now, and other cryptocurrencies all took a whack today. It's a good day to be buying because everybody's saying that the thing's going to be approved. It looks like it's going to be approved on Friday, which is the 5th, which is in 2 days. So I'd say it's a great time to be buying more cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin or Solana was down almost double digits today. So the ETF is going to be approved based on all the major reporting. But this was the thing that made it drop, is something from Matrixport, which said Matrix on Target projects a January rejection for spot coin ETFs by the SEC, and saying that could cause a 20% drop in the price of Bitcoin. But it's just some random blog, which the same day had a headline that says the ETF approval is imminent and Bitcoin is going to jump to 50K. So it was the same blog outlet, just tiny. But yeah, the price of Bitcoin got crushed today, and other stuff did too, including Solana. So yeah, there are the two articles. One article that said Bitcoin spot ETF approval imminent. I have a number of headlines. Bloomberg says they don't have anything indicated except for approval. Fox Business said the SEC could begin notifying issuers of approval on Friday, with trading beginning as early as next week. Yes. And if you need help with cryptocurrency, you want to get involved and you don't know how, or you want to know how to store it or keep it safe, any of those things, I'm available for consultations. You can reach out to me on Twitter at lifttheveil411 or just by texting me at 650-GAY-TAXI, 650-429-8294. I'll put that number on the screen. So if anybody needs any help with cryptocurrency, contact me. I do consultations. So it's something I really enjoy doing, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about based on my experience with crypto. So this is the big news, though, that the ETF is coming out, which is going to allow a lot more people to buy Bitcoin than could in the past, especially retirement accounts and stuff. So anyway, the news is it's going to get approved. It looks like it's going to be approved Friday. All right. Now I'll move on to economic news. Okay, good. I have a few things. I have another clip of Vivek too. U.S. interest expenses right now are over $1 trillion. Our debt today hit 34 trillion for the first time, and it's up $1 trillion in less than 3 months. At the current rate, we are totally doomed, because look at how much interest we're having to pay on the debt. It's over $1 trillion now for this year. So now that means this year we're going to pay $1 trillion just in interest on the debt, which we've accrued, which is 250 billion more than the defense budget, 250 billion more than spending on Medicare, 200 billion more than spending on health, and it will surpass the $1.35 trillion spending on Social Security this year, becoming the single largest outlay of funds from the US government will be to pay the interest on our debt. I have Vivek talking about what he plans to do about that. I just got this clip because he's talking about the same thing. It is going to become the largest line item veto on our line item.
If the interest payments on our national debt become the largest line item in our federal budget, we're in quicksand, and I don't think we have a country left. I think it's going to take somebody with fresh legs and also a CEO in the White House. I'm working with zero-based budgeting. That's how I'm going to run the federal government. Fire 75% of those federal bureaucrats within my first term.
All right.
Taking that anti-deep state America First agenda further than Donald Trump did. And I think if we don't do that in this next short window we have, I'm quite concerned we won't have the same country left. And so it's not about in my life. Sure, I could run for president in the future. I don't need to run for president at all. But I'm doing this out of my sense of duty to the country. And I don't think we're working with a lot of time left. And that's why I'm in this race.
We'll watch closely. Vivek, good catching up with you. Vivek Ramaswamy, the 2024 Republican presidential.
So there you go. He says we got to slash spending, which they're not talking about. I even saw our press secretary say that it was because of tax cuts. That's why we have such a big deficit. It's because of tax cuts for the rich that Republicans put through. All right, so here's some economic news. Job hiring is way down in November and is now way below pre-COVID levels. So you can see that hiring is down. Got killed in November, apparently. Zero Hedge says absolutely obliterated. People say 85% of Americans say it's a bad time to buy a house, even though interest rates have recently improved. That's the highest rating ever. 85% say it's a bad time to buy a home right now. I have Javier Milei explaining the Cantillon effect, which is that when you cut interest rates and give money out, it helps rich people, but not poor people the most. So this, you'll have to read the translation, okay?
La inflación es pobreza, efectivamente es pobreza. En la teoría económica eso se llama efecto Hume-Cantillon. Es decir, el que recibe último el dinero que sale de la imprenta es el que pierde. ¿Por qué? Porque ¿quién es el que primero recibe el dinero? El político, para gastarlo. O sea, el que primero se beneficia con eso es el político porque recibe dinero de hoy a precios de ayer. Ahora, ¿qué pasa cuando empieza a gastar? Suben los precios minoristas, después suben los precios mayoristas, después suben los salarios. ¿Quién es entonces el que recibe último, el que pierde? Por eso, cuando vos explicabas, claro, cuando vos te dieron el aumento ya te mataron durante X meses antes. Por eso siempre llega de atrás, el trabajador siempre llega de atrás. Y al darse esa situación, es que te cae, en esa transición que cae el salario real, a vos te están matando.
There you go. That's the truth.
La inflación es
Says
pobreza.
the Cantillon effect. Whoever's closest to the money when it comes out of the printer, they're the ones who benefit because they can buy assets right away, which the prices are going to go up on as soon as other people get the money. So they're the first ones through the door. They're the ones who benefit the most, and you and me benefit the least. There's people posting videos about how expensive stuff is. I watched one about Subway, where a Subway sandwich now is like $16. This is a guy who went to McDonald's and got very upset that it was so expensive. So I'll play that for you. There are a number of there are a number of TikToks like this.
McDonald's, you come sit your trifling behind down. Who y'all done got out of pocket? Y'all don't forget who you were. Y'all not supposed to be expensive. Huh? Who told y'all was that good to be charging that much for y'all food? Y'all supposed to be good for the price. Okay? Because y'all doing too much now. Y'all doing too much. Me and my wife this morning went to breakfast at McDonald's and got two of the steak and bagel combos. We paid $20. $20. I tried to order an extra hash brown. When I saw it was $2.19 for the extra. $2.19. McDonald's, y'all done got out of pocket. Y'all supposed to be dollar menu budget friendly. When did y'all get uppity? I need y'all to take it back down. Your tone up here, I need you to take it back down here because you ain't even that good.
There you go.
McDonald's,
So
you come
that's
sit
my
your
guy. It is expensive, man. Stuff is really expensive. I remember when you go to, I remember, speaking of being old, I remember when food was a lot less expensive, and it is crazy now, and we're not benefiting from it. The senators, politicians are benefiting. They're beating the stock market. I showed this chart yesterday. This is the stock market average right here. Everybody above that line, including Nancy Pelosi, made better returns than the index fund, the S&P 500, which was up 25% last year. But some of these senators are up senators and Congress people are up way more. That's because they can do insider trading. So, all right, let me see what else I have for you here. We are close to having a holodeck. I have another finance related video about how the government, most new jobs are actually from government spending. I'll show you that. Most new jobs are because of the welfare industrial complex.
Why are GDP and jobs numbers defying slowdown predictions? Easy, because most new jobs are disguised government spending. They don't create anything, of course, but they sure do spend, and they're about to get a lot worse. A few days ago, the Wall Street Journal ran an excellent article on what they call the, quote, welfare industrial complex. They kick off asking what's driving America's job growth, concluding it's, quote, government, social assistance, and associated healthcare. In fact, more than half, 56%, of the 2.8 million net new jobs created last year were precisely that, government, social assistance, and healthcare. In blue states like New York and Illinois, those welfare jobs make up literally more than all the job gains. So 113% in Michigan, same in Illinois, 121% in New York. In other words, their real productive economy is actually shrinking. Without those jobs, from just the last year alone, nationwide, we would be close to 5% unemployment. If you add back the millions of workers who dropped out during COVID, we'd be closer to 8% unemployment. Now, welfare spending is GDP. To be sure, it will get Paul Krugman popping the bubbly, but it is not economic growth. It's not making us richer. In fact, it's economic deconstruction, converting formerly productive people into permanent wars of society. Indeed, if you go into poor areas in many of these states, you'll see literally nothing but welfare services. So nonprofits, Medicaid paid health clinics, government agencies, with a tiny sprinkling of gas stations and takeout with bulletproof glass. So the productive economy is actually shrinking, but the GDP numbers hide it. All pretty dire, but brace yourself because there's a lot more to come, as literally millions of new welfare cases pour in wholesale from what was formerly known as the border. The Journal reports that New York City is currently spending $394 per day on every single migrant. That's the price of a nice Disney vacation. That comes to $144,000 per year per migrant, which is, of course, far more than Americans make with actual jobs. Possibly more, since I can only imagine the games government activists play to hide the money they spend. Add these imported millions to the hundreds of thousands of, quote, drug-addled and mentally ill homeless living on the street. That is a quote from the Journal. And you've got the makings for some very impressive consumer spending. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Those nosebleed trillions are just the start, since decades of experience has shown that the more government spends on welfare, the more people go on welfare. In Joe Biden's first stimulus bill, for example, they poured out nearly $43 billion in housing subsidies to end homelessness as we know it. So what happened? The homeless population shot up by 85,000. While homeless don't cost as much as migrants, they're just 86,000 a year, again, per person, which is also a very respectable salary anywhere in America. Again, that's taking the activists who run government welfare at their word. As the journal notes, quote, progressive government doesn't do anything on the cheap. Indeed, they note Los Angeles is currently spending $837,000 per unit to build housing for the homeless. So at $144 a year per migrant and $86 per ruined life, times millions, you get the makings of some fantastic consumer spending numbers, even as the economy and the treasury are gutted. Okay, we'll be watching.
Wow.
See you next time.
It's just crazy. I would love to make $86,000 a year. Again, I did at one point before I went off on this truther crusade, which I'm on now. Germans are protesting the government right now. Big numbers. There's some impressive videos. This is one of them of how many farmers have turned out to protest the government plans to push them out of business. So I'll show you that video. Wow, there's just a ton of tractors. Look at all those tractors. There you go. With the soundtrack. All right. So that's going on in Germany. Big protests going on in Germany. Midjourney, which makes AI pictures, says that we're going to get the holodeck. We can get to the holodeck this year. It says, quote, we're going to build a lot of stuff this year. I think we'll build more stuff than I've ever built before. By the end of 2024, hopefully we have real-time open worlds. Real-time open worlds, unquote. So that's how AI is coming along. Okay, and finally, Joe Biden's going to give a speech January 6th. January 6th, the date of the so-called insurrection. He's going to say that Trump is a threat to democracy. That's on Saturday. So January 6th anniversary is coming up Saturday. And the Biden campaign said that they are going to cast President Trump as a threat to democracy, like that worked before. All right, well, I have so many people tuned in that I should open the phone. I have enough people tuned in that I can open the phone. So let me see. I did get a coffee. I do want to shout that out. I have a coffee from Down Advices who says, you are the best. You deserve more than just a coffee. Maybe 999,000 for what you do, spreading the truth, because truth matters. Keep going, Nathan. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. I'm in a position where I do need some support from this show. I do need to bring in some income from this show. So anybody who supports me, I really appreciate. And you can also buy t-shirts and book consulting if you want consulting on literally anything. Whatever. If you want to talk to me, just get in touch with me. Yeah, I can open up the phone too. Make sure to get our shirts. I'll show those. I'll open up the phone. People can call in. 650-429-8294 is the number. I have enough people tuned in that there should be a call or two. So 650-429-8294. 650-GAY taxi is the number. And I'll look at the chat too. If anybody has Q&A, whatever, I can do a Q&A session too. The Epstein list did not come out yet. Let me check the comments. Oh, refresh my coffees. Thanks, Street Ghost, who says refresh. Okay, absolutely, I will. That means I got another coffee or a membership or something. Thank you. The Hard R Ranch and Coffee Bar bought 2 coffees and says, Happy New Year, Nathan. Come visit new locations for 2024. Yeah, get me out of here. I'll come visit. The Hard R Ranch and Coffee Bar. Thanks for that. Happy New Year, Nathan. Come visit new locations for 2024. Okay. Tell me how I can get out of California. I'll do that. I get a coffee that's less than $5 now. I get the drip coffee with refill. So I have 2 of those with my bagel in the morning. That's what I do. Walk to the bagel shop, get a bagel, which is like a mile away. So I get my walk-in, though today I didn't because of the rain. But I get my walk-in, I get coffees. So thanks for the support. Thanks Hard R Ranch for buying 2 coffees. I really appreciate it. I know Gamma Rama and Spaldo appreciate that too. You can call in or you can drop questions in the chat. Ryan James says 999,000 coffees. Yeah, that would be a lot of coffees. That'd be millions of dollars. I can calculate millions of dollars, which arguably I deserve for speaking the truth, for doing some crazy interviews. So you can call in, or after the show, you can whatever. You can text me if you want to talk to me. 650-429-8294. You can call in now if you want. I've almost gone an hour though. So, thanks Post Constitutional, who said I did a good job consulting with you years ago. That's great. Hopefully you're feeling good. I think Bitcoin's, from here, gosh, it's got to go up. 42.7 right now. It's got to come back. I think, since that news is just bullshit. 650-429-8294. If nobody calls in though, I'll wrap up the show. Or if nobody has any questions for me in the chat, I'll wrap up the show. Got a bunch of people tuned in today. Thank you for coming. I'll be back tomorrow, okay, 2 p.m. Pacific time. And I guess I'll be back with the actual list. So maybe when the actual list comes out, I'll have to go live again, possibly. 650-429-8294. We'll give it a minute, and then I'll just wrap up the show if nobody calls in. We have 157 people tuned in. That is a magic number. Katie D says, where do I watch the list to drop? Do the Twitter, X. You should wait for the list to drop on X. That's where people will post it. They'll say when it comes out and what names are on it. So yeah, it still has not come out yet though. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. You embarrassed me by not calling in. That's fine. We have a long enough show today. We did an hour. So watch for the list to come out. Here we go. Hey, you're on the air.
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm okay. Could be better, could be worse. I just wonder something, because you were saying you wanted people to call in and do like a Q&A, ask questions. Like, I got one question.
Sure.
Right? Because you got, like, the show is titled Lift the Veil. So, all right, think about this, right? How come it's like so lopsided where you can't say certain stuff? Like, for the last, 5 years, everybody has to be censored, like where you have to like say certain words. Like, you can't say the word, you have to be like the R word or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is ironic that there's like somebody calling themselves the Hard R Ranch. Like, okay, really?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, with everybody being censored, you can't really even say stuff about certain things that happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Where on one side of the whole plane, it's like we're in a twilight zone. Like, did you ever hear about that lady? I think she was from like New Jersey. It was like an older lady, like an elderly lady, and her house exploded, and her dang on mattress went like 500 feet up in the air and landed on top of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
But they said she was supposed to go testify against like the Clintons or something. One of the Clintons she was supposed to go testify against. They said that her stove got hooked up wrong from the Geek Squad or somebody. But here's the thing. Since when does a little gas leak, like the old man sits down smoking a cigarette and it makes a whole dang on house explode where something shoots up that high? Doesn't that seem like a little, like you'd have to like be like, yeah, everybody just has explosions like off of dang on Lethal Weapon Part 1 or something, or Part 3 is, you know?
Yeah, I don't know about that story, and I'm always caught. I don't know. There's been some fake news about people who are going to testify about the Clintons, but yeah, I don't know the story you're talking about. As far as not being able to say stuff, yeah, that is true. Like I never talk about anything. I can never talk about anything medical because I've gotten so many strikes for medical disinformation, so I stay away from it entirely. So I agree that the situation means you can't really lift the veil on a lot of stuff. So that's just the situation we live in. I try to exist on YouTube and, bring people some entertainment that I don't get strikes
It
for.
started to click.
Yeah.
It started to click in and out.
Oh, okay. Do you have a bad connection with me? I hear you fine.
You can hear me fine? Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was another thing I was kind of wondering about, like, with that, right? Because, like, if one side has been rumored to always be causing, like, mischief for, like, decades and decades and decades, and, like, the other people, it's like, what did he do? Like, he was in Home Alone 2 or something, Like,
right.
He had a cameo on Home Alone 2,
right.
and rappers used to, like, give him shout outs because he had money and used to live in New York around where they were at.
Yep.
And it's like, now all of a sudden people hate his guts. And it's like, how the heck did he go from that? But it's like, they can't really say anything about people who agitate and pick at them, even if somebody's like son get caught with a laptop and the laptop has all type of hanky panky on it, and
yep.
It's just kind of weird. It's like really lopsided.
Yep.
And everybody suffered because remember they did all of that crap for everybody to get purged off of YouTube.
Yep.
Over they feud, like over a weird feud. But it's like weird because like I've been on a show from somebody that's from Arkansas, and they used to have like a bunch of different little documentaries about some of the stuff that was going on out there due to a lawyer. And recently, like, like in the last like 10 years, that lawyer ended up getting arrested. But back when he was in his heyday, back when that lawyer was in his heyday, they were like saying that there was some little kids that witnessed something and they called them the boys on the tracks.
Yeah.
And those boys ended up getting offed.
Yep.
Like, cause I don't know what, like with the censorship, I don't know exactly what word you can even use for it. Like, don't you have to just like dance around everything? So like, how the heck do you get the truth out if you have to play with kid gloves where you can't even say, it's like it protects people that harm all of us.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you got it, man.
Well, we can't even, you can't even put a warning up. Like that kind of sucks, man. Like, and it take the fun out of stuff. Cause like, you can't even like joke around about some of the stuff, or you can't even be like, oh, well, this might be healthy for something and stuff like that. Sucks if you were trying to say something cool on the show and then they like got it where they strike your channel. Like that's lame.
Yeah, it's lame, dude. And that's the situation we're living in. I got to let you go. I have some other calls coming in, but hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, man. Stay up and be safe, man.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate you.
One.
See ya. All right, cool. I did have some other calls coming in, so we can keep it rolling. We got way more. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Nathan, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
Big fan, big fan. You hear me? You got me good?
I think that was a prank call. So I think that was a prank call. I'm not sure. So I hung up in advance because people like those prank callers sometimes mess with the show intentionally to see if they can give me strikes and stuff. So we'll see if I can take any more calls. I think that was a stupid call, probably. Thanks, Gamarama. Yeah, I had to hang up on it. All right. I can still leave the phones open without taking a call from anyone who's being silly. 650-429-8294. And now I'm like, I think it's badly. This is a number I recognize, so I think. Hey, you're on the air.
Nathan, Happy New Year.
Hey, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you. Who's this?
This is Misinformation.
Oh, hey, Misinformation. Good to hear from you.
I'm was a nurse in Texas.
Yeah.
Called you a while back. I just wanted to say that I'm very happy, doing so much better, and really wanted to say, I've watched from the sidelines very anxiously as you had your very fucking rocky summer. And honestly, they talk about parasocial relationships. I've listened to you for so long, and you really did help me through the last few years. And just having someone out there who I feel like, right or wrong, tries to look objectively, tries to be equal poised in looking for the truth, and just to have that resonance with that there is someone else out there who doesn't just go for a hot take, who's trying to actually suss things out and incorporates a very multifaceted, multidimensional approach to reality in all its forms. And that is very, very valuable. And I think
Thank you.
that most of your long-term listeners are the kinds of people who don't need to agree with one opinion or another, but just really appreciate that there are other kinds of people out there with that perspective of just what the fuck, basically.
Yeah.
What the fuck.
Right.
And I want to say also, observing that time and also peeking in on a whole lot of alleged friends, trolls who said all kinds of shit about you while alleging to be your friends. I want to say that I've worked in psych, I've worked in rehab, I've worked in all kinds of heavy duty shit, and have seen a lot of stuff. And just want to say that I personally think that there is nothing more masculine and more brave and showing more integrity than being able to literally go through what you did publicly. Some of the most humbling, embarrassing, trying things I've ever witnessed. And that level of vulnerability and being able to come back and have a straight spine and be able to be yourself and acknowledge the weaknesses, that is your strength.
Oh, thank you.
And it's amazing. I mean, very few people are able to do that and not make a bunch of, brush it off or hide it or make excuses or what the fuck ever people do, brush it under the rug somehow. The fact that you acknowledge that as part of yourself and have the bravery and self-awareness to sit tall, I won't say stand tall because most of the time you're sitting, and still continue to be yourself is absolutely amazing. And there is nothing of more integrity, of more strength, and of more masculinity, real masculinity than that.
Well,
and thank you for fucking having the strength to make it back.
Thanks.
Because honestly, with all the shit of the last few years, I was watching and legitimately praying for you and just praying like, please, universe, not fucking Nathan. Like you've taken so many things and so many things are upside down and backwards. Like don't let my reality lose that reality. Like just let him make it through.
Thank you.
So thank you for making it through.
Yeah. Thanks for your prayers. I mean, I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky. So, I just want to remember that. And I'm lucky to have somebody like you who's looking out for me and cares about what I put out. And so I just try to do the show for people who, need to hear something that they connect to in some way. So that's really nice of you.
You've helped me make it through.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's great.
And
I really appreciate it.
I also want to say, I haven't heard Katie's voice in forever, but I'm grateful that even if you guys wind up just being friends, that she actually took some, for richer, for poorer, and in sickness and not, seriously, and has made it through with you.
Yeah, I'm
That's
very fortunate.
amazing.
Very fortunate to have her still in my life. I have to work hard to maintain that and make sure I still keep her in my life because she's very helpful for me. So thanks. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the call. I have somebody
Thank
else
you.
trying to call in, but
Yep.
thanks so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it. And you're the person I do the show for. So thanks very
Thank
much.
you. Have a happy new year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. See ya. All right. That's a nice call. I had another call coming in, so I'll see if that one calls. That was not very nice call. Yeah, I went through some mental health issues last summer for people who are wondering, like serious ones, and then relationship issues, and then trouble with the law and stuff. I just went through some stuff this last summer, which I'm still dealing with, which means I can't pass a background check right now just because I was crazy. Just because I was crazy, basically. Hey, you're on the air.
Hi, Nate. It's Katya. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey.
Who'd you say it was?
Blue Fly.
Oh, hey, Blue Fly. Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
Hey. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just wanted to touch up on something. So
Yeah.
over the break and stuff, I've been going back to the basics, right? Like watching a lot of the 9/11 stuff again.
Yes.
Bring some things back into perspective.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that reminded me of some stuff that happened, like, a little bit about me, right? Military family and stuff. So after 9/11, like a year or two later, whatever, like someone contacted us and said, hey, a soldier that we knew, right, that used to be stationed with us, he used to come to our house and everything. Hey, they murdered someone. So they actually made a movie about it, and I was going to tell you about it. Maybe we can touch up on that on another show, but it's called, in 2007, I made a movie about it, The Valley of Elah. Do you know about that movie?
No, I haven't heard of it.
So yeah, anyway, so these fellow soldiers apparently, I mean, they did. They killed a fellow soldier of them. But that group of those soldiers were in Kuwait when, after they dropped the bombs on Kuwait, they were the first ones to go in, and they saw so much carnage. There was so, like, my neighbors died across the street. It was really, and my husband at the time was also in Iraq. But however, this guy, the soldier who was one of them, who was he got convicted for what is it when you take part in it? What is it called in English? The second degree or something. No, what is it? You know what I mean?
Sure.
He took part in it. He didn't report it. But anyway, so when I was watching the documentary, I said, let me look that up again. And actually, I found out that he got released because I looked up his record. And so, yeah, he did 17 years, and they did him so wrong because they did all these soldiers so wrong because he was supposed to go in a mental hospital. He tried to kill himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before they were going to send him back to Germany in the hospital, mental hospital. And when these guys got back to Fort Benning in Georgia, they got 30 minutes with a psychiatrist, and then they send them on their way. And these guys went to Victory Drive in Fort Benning. I don't know if anybody knows about this, but it's like strip clubs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, and they went to a strip club and they got kicked out. They were drinking, they got kicked out, and apparently this one guy threw change at a lady quarters or whatever.
Right, which is rude.
And then he got and then they got into an argument, and then he got stabbed. One guy of them stabbed him. But they were all crazy, like from the war and all the murder and whatever what's going on. But the official story is, though, and they made a movie about it, The Valley of Elah, whatever it's called, that apparently these guys knew about something that guy who stabbed him did in Iraq like, you know,
Right.
to a Iraqi girl or whatever. They did some shady stuff, and that's why they killed him. But I was always thinking about this guy because, you know, he was at Thanksgiving at my house. I knew this guy.
Really?
And it's just, yeah, I knew this guy. And he got released in September 23, did 17 years. And I just always did, I thought that they did him that they did these soldiers so wrong.
Right.
Yeah, they did some horrible, right? They stabbed him, then they try to get rid of the body, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, it's horrible, but I just think they didn't take care of all the soldiers. And then looking at this, like that's the exact documentary I watched, Fahrenheit 9/11 by Michael Moore.
Mhm.
And this is actually what got me into researching the truth, and you know, back then 9/11 did it for me.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to touch up on that, and maybe offline I can show you some stuff. I'll send you some stuff about it, but
Okay.
that was crazy. So
Yeah,
yeah, I just
cool.
thought I'd share that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm interested. You could share with it whatever you want with me. And you're keeping up with the Epstein list too, right?
Yes, I don't know how many times I refreshed, but apparently they will release it today, minus those two, Jane and John Doe's.
Okay. All
yeah.
right. So we'll have to see that. Okay, good. I'm counting on you to keep me updated.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right, cool.
Have
Good
a
to hear
good
from you.
one.
All right.
Bye.
See ya. All right. All right. I have one more call that was trying to come in. I'll see if it comes in soon. Otherwise, I've done a long show for you guys today. Thanks, everybody who tuned in. Thanks for the kind words from that caller. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the coffees. Those of you who got me coffees, I really appreciate that. Yeah, anything you guys give me. I want to buy some flowers for Katie. So I want to do that today. And she likes some that are a little more expensive than the ones you get at Costco. I don't like being made fun of for my flower choices. So I think I'm going to do that today, is go buy some flowers and just be as good as I can be. But I'd like to be a more productive human. So anybody needs help with crypto, definitely get in touch with me at this phone number. You can just text me or reach out to me at LiftTheVeil411 on Twitter. Okay, so we still have it open. I saw one other call trying to come in. Hopefully it's not a prank call. We dealt with the prank call well, I think. And it's 3:20. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up here. All right. Thanks, everybody, for... It says, let's see. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Nathan, I'm trying you again. We got disconnected. I'm not a prank call. I'm not a prank call.
Okay. Hey, what's up?
I'm just calling to ask. Hey, I just want to talk about the Epstein situation. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, what are the chances? Yeah, what are the chances that this guy who specializes in blackmail, right, and like getting what do you call that, brownstone ops? I mean, what are the chances that this fella he gonna not have a dead man switch?
Yeah, I don't know. He's dead. So if he had a dead man switch, then it should have been activated, right? Well, he's supposedly dead, at least. You're talking about
Yeah, so supposedly dead. Exactly. That's my point. I mean, that's why I think he's alive, because it's just ridiculous. I mean, a guy like that, he's at the top of the game. He don't have a dead man switch.
You would think so. All right, man.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Okay, cool.
Anyway,
sorry.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you take it easy.
See ya. Don't know. Sounds like a voice changer is what it sounds like. He's using a voice changer, but that's cool. He had a good comment. All right, cool. I've tried wrapping up the show twice. So let's see if when I try the third time, if I get another call. We'll see. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Great to see you here. And I'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.